Well, we're back again. This is Rev Bruce, and this is Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. Today, we're going to be talking to Aldo Chavez, who's coming from AthLEAD Advantage here in San Diego, and he's going to share a little bit about youth development and how they work with youth in our community. And I want to definitely give him some time to share how they do it and then pose some questions. You know, we need to ask people questions about how they get things done and how it's a benefit to our people. But also, we want to find out what's his inspiration and motivation and what he's got going on with that. And so, good to know that we got some folks out there. And tune in, stay tuned. Remember, right? This is Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. You are here in the right place on Saturday at 10 o'clock. And boom, you know, let's keep this in mind. For those of you that are seeking to do something different with your life, looking to do something different with your life, this is something that's, extremely important. Keep this in mind. You want to make sure that you do two things. One, you want to make sure that you remain true to yourself. Be yourself, right? If it's not you, maybe it doesn't fit you. And so always remain true to yourself, okay? And then secondly, you want to do something else. You want to better yourself. You want to be better than where you started out. And so a lot of people will tell you, oh, that's not possible. That's something that sounds so strange and out of your realm, and that doesn't sound like you. Guess what? I wasn't doing this 6 months ago. I wasn't doing this a year ago. Matter of fact, I wasn't even doing this show 3 months ago. This show is only, a month old. We're going on 2 months once we get to the middle of August, but this is only a month old. And so think about it. You can do something different to be different. You got to do something different to be different. Otherwise, you won't have a different experience. So let's be real about that. Let's understand you got to be yourself and you got to better yourself. Read more, study more, get mentored by somebody, follow somebody. I don't care if you follow them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, LinkedIn. Follow somebody who can help you be a better you. And so be yourself, better yourself. Listen, my guest today is Aldo Chavez. He's coming in. He's talking about AthLEAD Advantage, right? AthLEAD Advantage. It's a program right here in San Diego County. And no doubt, no guessing, here we are. Aldo, good morning to you, man.
Good morning, my brother. Happy Saturday. I came prepared. You say coffee and chat with Reverend Bruce. I got my Nescafe. I have to keep it real
There
with
you
my
go.
roots. I can't forget my concha, my brother. You gotta have that
Right on.
concha. You gotta stick to the roots. But my
For
brother,
the
first,
gente.
for the gente, you know how it is for the raza, my brother. You know how we do. Reverend Bruce, thank you for having me this morning, my brother. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you. We know each other for years, and it is beautiful to hear that you just started this project not that long ago. So that is that's inspiring, my brother. So much props to you, and continue the grind, man. That's great.
Bless you.
So let's get started, my brother. So let me do a little presentation about what we do. We'll show you a little PowerPoint of what we do, an AthLEAD Advantage, a little breakdown. It's probably like a little less than 3 to 5 minute PowerPoint. So if you could just roll up the PowerPoint, Bruce, for me, my brother, so we can break it down.
All set. Here we go.
All right, let me see. It's coming up. Here we go. Is it loaded, my brother? I don't see it right here on my screen.
It's right here. I got you on the screen, man.
All right,
Got you.
perfect. I just want to make sure we got it. Here we go. So AthLEAD Advantage. First of all, it's a program that we have started. I've been in education for 20 years, and one of my dreams was to start our own business in consulting, but staying within athletics. So basically, what we have here is we started this program about just like you said, man, a few months ago. We've been working in the education field, in the non profit sector, and we decided to be part of the change. Instead of complaining about it, let's find a solution for it. So what we have here in AthLEAD Advantage is that we provide consulting in physical education, health and development, and also athletics, and also leadership. So with that said, my brother, let me just make sure I have it here. Here we go. Is that Let me see, my brother. I'm not. I cannot change the. Here we go. Beautiful. So let me introduce you to our team. First of all, you know me, your prize provider here. I'm the director of development, community relations. My other colleague Monique, she's in charge of director of operations, and my other colleague Ed Egan is the managing director for AthLEAD Advantage. Us three, we combined it just like Captain Planet, man. I'm taking you back. We combined our powers and our expertise. We have over 70 years. I know you're gonna like that one, my brother. So
Yeah.
taking me back to Captain Planet years, Saturday
One
morning
thing different would be
cartoon.
if you did Wonder Twins, you know?
Taking me back to Saturday morning cartoon. So we have over 70 years of experience together as a team. Anne is a retired principal. Monique has been an educator for over 10 years. I've been in education for over 20 years. So combined, my brother, we have a great, unbelievable team. Next, what we do, we lead. Leadership, education, athletics by design. So we basically, our main thing is to prioritize direct services and custom consulting services to empower the youth with access, quality of physical education, coaching, and activity-based learning opportunities. So we basically are using athletics to teach them life skills to our youth. If it's social skills, leadership skills, coping skills, especially with the mental illness that is skyrocketing recently with this pandemic and so forth. Now, what we want to do for each student, we want them to feel safe, supported. We want to provide a high quality curriculum, not just a curriculum, but a high quality curriculum. And that's one thing we have to do as a community. We got to stop giving just the bare minimum, especially to our students of color and especially in the low income communities, because they're only getting the bare minimum, and that is not right. So we take pride in giving high quality curriculum, resources, but most importantly, time. We got to give them quality time, give them the platform to express themselves, but to also show their skills, their internal talents that they have. They just need the platform to perform them and to showcase them. And our main motto in AthLEAD Advantage is to play, learn, and lead. Now, our vision, we believe play is power. So we got to welcome our students back from, once we get back to quote unquote the new normal that they've been saying in the news. When we get back, if it's January, February, we got to help our students to come back and provide a culture that supports them socially, emotionally, and academic, and more than anything, their learning needs. Because if they are not stable and supported socially and emotionally, how you think they're going to learn academically? So it's
Mm.
super important we take care of that component of the social and emotional component and the mental, wellness of them before we can even teach them math, English, science, whatever it is. We got to make sure they are stable, they are supported, they are loved, and more than anything, they're being heard. How do we
Yeah,
do? Go ahead, my brother.
yeah. That reminds me of another program I worked with where one of the sayings, going back to Head Start was if they were hungry in their stomachs, they weren't going to be hungry for knowledge.
Oh no, because that's the last thing on their mind. They're thinking that, "Hey, my stomach's growling. I can't
Yeah,
even focus." Like, you try to go, 5 hours without eating as an adult. You're
yeah.
hungry, man. You're upset. You
So
need
you
a Snickers.
got to feed their bodies before you can feed their minds. Yeah,
Exactly. And then even after we feed their bodies, we gotta also feed their soul, man. We gotta hear them out. We gotta hear their story. We gotta listen to them and not just lecture them. And that's
I
the
like
main thing
that.
the kids they needed. They just need to be heard, my brother. So a lot of times they just need to be heard. They don't need the lecture. They don't need the advice. They just need to be heard. And if they want the advice, they'll tell you. They'll keep it real with you. So, moving on, one of our programs, Bruce, that we have is PhD. and it stands for Physical Health and Development. So what we do physical education, PE, but in a really unique way. Our team is unbelievable. We have created a great curriculum with multiple activities. The kids are they think they're playing these fun games, of but they don't realize that they're working with their eye and hand coordination. They're working with their ability. They're becoming quote unquote athletic playing the game. So it's not just structure in the sense, okay, we're going to do drills. No, these are fun games that the kids are learning. It's safe. We're also practicing our social distancing. We have been in the lab for the last couple of months, um, preparing for this COVID-19, aftermath when the kids come back to school. So we adapted and we have changed our curriculum for to promote the social spacing and within the kids so they could be safe, and more than anything, providing a culture of learning through play. That is the main thing with our PhD program, and that's one of our programs we provide direct services. Now, our curriculum, like I mentioned, it's unbelievable, man. You never stop learning. You know that, Bruce. It doesn't matter how old we get. We got to challenge ourselves to learn new skills, to educate ourselves, read, with if it's books or articles, just to empower us mentally, so we could provide that information to our youth. So our curriculum basically we adapt to all ages, grades, and school needs. Our main focus is kids K through 8, but we're always open to even go up to the high school level and help out with units there that if high schools are needed support, and we're there for them as well. They're all standard based. They're all aligned with the state standards in California. A couple of the curriculums that we cover is jump rope, street hockey, volleyball, basketball, Reese's unit. That is a huge makeover nowadays because of the social distancing. So we went in the lab, we basically modified it and gave it a whole twist. We also work on throwing and catching. You'll be surprised how many kids nowadays, my brother, don't know how to jump rope, and know how many kids don't even know how to throw or catch a ball or an object. So we go back to the fundamentals of it, and it's super important because we want to promote that social, um more than anything, that social confidence that they could do the simple things of catching and throwing, for example. Then we focus on our flag football, foot golf too, fitness, multicultural. We have been in the lab for many years now, and especially the last couple months, studying other cultures, Bruce, of how they do PE, from Brazil, from India, Mexico, Taiwan, China. So we have a multicultural unit of games from other countries using the same type of equipment. So
So
we
wait a
go
minute.
for it.
So are you doing, like sports from not just other cultures right now, but for instance, um, lacrosse. I heard there was a whole bunch of people down in Central America that were breaking down lacrosse before it was even a sport up here in
Oh,
the U.S.
my brother, man, our ancestors from Latin America, Mexico, they created a lot of the sports, and they don't get credit for that. And that is sad. We give the Greeks a lot of credit, and we give other cultures in the Western civilization in Europe credit. But a lot of our ancestors from the down south, Latin America and Mexico, they created a lot of these games, and they had their
Yeah,
own
because
version. They created their own version of it. But like I
yeah,
said, they don't give the credit, and that goes into in the ethnic studies presenting this information, because a lot of
yeah,
kids are not proud of their culture because they're not presented the history of their own culture. And that's one thing we have to strive and push, that we got to teach our kids their own culture so they could be proud of who they are, and they should not be ashamed of their native language or their own culture. You know what I mean? So we brought this the last couple years, and it's been a great hit because we're introducing them, we're teaching cultural tolerance, empathy, education of other cultures, and guess what? Appreciation of other cultures with this multicultural unit. Then we go down with track and field, soccer, disc golf, paddle tennis, heat wave, and rainy day unit. So we adapt. There's no excuse. We don't believe in excuses in AthLEAD Advantage. If it's hot, All right, let's find a cool place under the shade, and let's do some fun stationary activities. Rainy days, same thing. So those are just a little appetizer, my brother, of what we do in curriculum based in AthLEAD Advantage. Now, what we ask are the three types of movements that we focus on. You have your high movement, which is cardio and fitness, medium movement, which is stations, and then we have our low movement, which promotes creative art and critical thinking. So with that said, the high impact is basically, we use the space that we have, and we focus on relays. It's going to be the rock paper scissors challenge. So they do rock paper scissors, so they'll be able to advance moving forward. Running and walking club, and this is all adapted to the social distancing expectations that they're discussing at the moment. So when the kids come back to school, whenever it is, if it's December, January, February, we're ready for that social distancing. And then our medium impact is basically obstacle courses, dance stations, sports drill stations, and shadow ball stations. And the last one we have is low impact. Low impact is basically they're chilling, but they're still using, some type of agility, eye-hand coordination, which is chalk art, the paper airplane, landing strip, yo-yo zone, and harmonica stations. So if you notice, we adapt to every type of student, no matter how they are ability-wise and so forth. But like I said, play is powerful, my brother. We all, if you really reflect, Reverend Bruce, my true education growing up was through play. Don't get
Hmm.
me wrong, the academics is super important, but the application to the academics, the practice to the academics that we learn in the classroom, that's empowering. That's powerful right there. So what we do now, what we have adapted is the distance learning plan. We provide direct services or even consulting, depending on what's their need. We could provide direct services of bi-weekly or weekly Zoom meetings in doing physical activity lessons, even nutrition as well. We also do one physical education distance session per class, so we could see every class once a week or twice a week, depending on their budget and their needs. Same grade level competition challenges to promote participation, physical fitness through teacher support. So we will have like color wars. We will say, hey, you know what? Mr. Bruce's class versus Mr. Aldo's class. They're gonna see which team could run the most laps or which team could do the most jumping jacks. And believe it or not, they're playing a competition game that they don't realize that they're basically doing exercise, which helps their internal health, so they can be healthy and they feel good. And who doesn't like a good sweat, man? You know how it is. After you sweat, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
you know how it is, my bro. We play basketball together in the adult league. You know what I mean? We get a
that's
good
right.
sweat. We get a good sweat, and we feel good, man. Because we take all the toxins out, we take all the stress out, and more than anything, we're doing good to our body by sweating. Sweating is a great way to detox ourselves from any toxins or bad vibes that we have.
And those endorphins open their mind up.
Oh my brother, it does because then you are willing to learn because your blood's rolling instead of sitting in the classroom the whole time. So what we're trying to do is promote more movement. Now that the kids are have to be in front of the computer and distance learning, promoting more movement, promoting more breaks, even if it's only 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to promote more movement for the kids more than anything. And then the physical education, it could be taught in Spanish, my brother. We're bilingual, man. Sabemos español, even Spanglish, dude. You know what I mean? Even hood talk. You know how we do, man. We adapt to our kids because the minute we speak Spanish or their native language, guess what? The kids like, whoa, hablas español? You speak Spanish, maestro? Guess what happens? They open up their mind. They don't
Yeah.
put that defense anymore, saying, "Oh, I can't relate to you because I don't really understand you." But the minute you speak their native language that's spoken at home, that's where you break that barrier. And guess what? Everything just falls in place. It's a domino effect. The
Yeah,
kids willing to learn.
exactly. I had a guest on here. I can't even think of his name right now, but he talks about building confianza, right?
Yeah, a
And that
trust.
whole idea of if you can't build trust with the people, the relationship is at a distance. And so, that was Dr. V. I'm gonna stop joking around. That was Dr. V, and he's always put out there, putting out your best to build that confianza with the people that you serve and connect with the community.
And in any culture, my brother, any culture, I don't like the word minority because we're the majority. You know what I mean? But any brown, black culture, my brother, it's trust and respect. Those are the main morals and values that are instilled with us the minute we're little ones, the minute we could speak. It's to trust and to show respect to people and our elders. And the main thing we're trying to do now with this distance learning plan is encourage parent involvement. So what we do in our curriculum, we encourage the kid to motivate the parents to go on a walk, go ride their bikes, go for a jog, do the push-up challenge, do the squat challenge, do a scavenger hunt, fitness scavenger hunt. Find things. Once you find that object, now if you want to move on to the next object, you have to do 5 jumping jacks. But if we could create that parent involvement through our youth is unbelievable leader, because our youth, their innocence and their hunger could literally change our whole society and how we see things for our future.
Yes, definitely.
And then and these are the programs that we provide, Reverend Bruce. So at the Advantage, what we do, we provide coaching and training, consulting, mentoring with programs, and we custom made their needs and their budget. We look at their budget, we look at their needs, we ask them for their vision, and the consulting that provide is the physical education and health development, which is PhD, um, and that's direct services and consulting there. And then we have our athletic league, my brother, which your schools in the past have participated, and you know how it is. SD
Yeah.
Cali, which stands for San Diego Community Athletic League Inc. So I knew you're gonna like that SD Cali. I have to stay true to my SD roots.
Only thing you're missing is the bear right now.
Oh man, El Oso, you know how we do. So we basically host the direct services of SD Cali, the athletic league that now serves third grade to eighth grade student athletes. Over 4,000 students we serve. With our physical education, we serve an additional 3 to 4,000 students. And also we provide consulting for other communities outside of San Diego that wants to host their own athletic league. So anybody that, hey, you know what, we need an athletic league for our local elementary schools, middle schools, we provide that consulting. We showed you step by step how to create your own league, how to go through all the permits and procedures and finding locations and making sure you have everything in order to start your own league. And we also, like I mentioned, we provide the consulting for you to do your own physical education program at your school. And the last thing that we do is leadership consulting. So for your principals, your new principals, your dean of students, director of operations, managers, supervisors, but more than anything, also department heads and grade level teachers like those lead teachers, because people don't understand. Educators, it's easy to teach a kid because the kid will follow, most kids will follow your authority, you may say, but try to lead another adult, even if it's like 2 other people in your grade level. It's not that easy, man. So what we do, we provide different strategies on how to be a great leader. But to be a great leader, you got to be a great listener, and you know that, my brother. If you're not a great listener, you're not a great leader. It's not always has to be your way. You got to listen what your staff is saying, what your
Hmm.
colleagues are saying. So you become that Captain Planet. You combine all your powers, and guess what? You're unstoppable.
Hold on, man. Hold on, man. I
What's
gotta
up,
take
my
off
bro?
my
Go back.
glasses because I almost don't believe what you're saying. Hold on, hold on. You mean to tell me that in a business environment of consulting and highly competitiveness, right? You mean to tell me that you are willing to coach and consult other folks to do the same thing that you do?
My brother, you got to share the wealth. It was the number one thing we learned as a kid going into school. Sharing is caring. And I'm taking you back to the Barney days, my brother. PBS,
Wow.
man. And that's one thing. If you don't share your knowledge, you don't share your wealth. And my wealth is not money, my brother. My
Yeah.
wealth is knowledge and experience that I've been blessed and fortunate to be in education for over 20 years now, and to share that, because It's about serving the youth. The youth is the future. And that's our internal satisfaction. And that's why you and myself and other colleagues are in education. It's not for the money, it's not for the recognition, it's to empower our youth. And the most beautiful thing is when we have youth coming back saying thank you for planting those seeds. And I'm not talking about youth, under 18. I'm talking about you because I have supervised staff from 18 to 44 years old. And they come back and they tell me, Aldo, man, thanks for opening the door. So now I'm pursuing my dream career. That's empowerment right there. That is internal satisfaction. So God forbid, man, if my time is up, you know, I could die happy because I give back to the community. Because if you keep that knowledge to yourself, you're being selfish and you're doing a disservice to our community by not sharing your wealth and sharing your resources.
Amen. Amen. Listen.
What's up, my brother?
I'm still impressed with this piece because you not only have the program, but you're able to adapt the program to people's budgets, especially in a climate like this where
Yes.
educators are operating in the unknown, right? And
And
they're saying
yep.
they don't know what the budget will look like in some cases because this is a whole new thing with distance learning, but you've made a pivot and a change and you're able to create programming for individuals and programs that are individualized, right?
Exactly, my brother. And the main thing is we provide direct services to schools, but if they say the school can't afford that direct service, we could provide consulting, and adapt to their budget and teach their homeroom teachers how to do PE and nutrition properly. If schools want to create an athletic program, I'll teach step by step on the paperwork, how to teach, how to coach, or how to train their volunteer parent coaches or any of volunteer coaches. If you have an aspiring athletic director, I get to mentor them and show them how to run an effective athletic program. And then you're the leadership. If you have a brand new department head, lead teachers, we could teach them how to lead their department so the department's successful, man. And that's the thing. We got to stop being selfish. We got to stop saying, oh, this is my lesson plan. This is my
Mm.
curriculum. No, we got to say, my brother, we got to share the wealth because the more we share our knowledge, the more our youth benefits from it.
A great way to expand and
Oh, most definitely, my brother. Most definitely.
multiply it. You
You know how
know,
we do.
this is amazing in the sense of, this tells us a not only who AthLEAD Advantage is, but can you also give us what are some benefits for youth that are participating in AthLEAD Advantage?
Great question, man. The benefits are the social skills. We're teaching them how to deal with adversity, communication skills that a lot of our kids lack due to technology. Technology nowadays, don't get me wrong, technology is great. Look how we're communicating. This is great. But a lot of times it handicaps our youth. A
Mm.
lot of times it slows down our youth of critical thinking. They're too dependent on the technology for them to think for themselves. They're depending on the technology or the computer to output those answers. But we got to go back to the basics. I am a product of, if it wasn't for athletics, if it wasn't for sports, I wouldn't learn these skills of talking with people, being patient, of adapting to different personalities. Because you know how it is as former athletes, we have different personalities with teammates and we all contributed, but we got to teach the kids communication, dealing with adversity, learning how to lose. A lot of kids nowadays do not want to participate in anything competitive now because they're afraid of losing. But also the parents are at fault because they're like, oh, I don't want my baby to experience losing. No,
Mm.
losing is not losing. Losing is experience because that's how you learn to be better. And I always tell my, as a coach, I will tell my staff and also my players, you learn more by losing than winning. So when you do win,
Mm-hmm.
it tastes good. Imagine if everything, I always compare it to video games. Imagine if every game was easy. Will you still play it? No, you'll be done with that game. But you
Yeah.
like that struggle. You like, oh, I can't pass level 9. For me, it was like Mario 3, man. You know how it is. Super Nintendo, my brother. I couldn't pass level, that level 7. But guess what? I kept on working on it. But nowadays, I don't see that balance with our youth, with technology and playing outside as kids. One thing that my wife and myself, what we do with our daughters, like, you know what, go outside, man, and go get dirty. Go play. Go talk to your imaginary friend. Go talk to insects. Get dirty, because they need that exploration. Because those are the best moments as a youth when you explore it. I remember sitting down in front of my apartment complex in Guadalupe, California. Shout out to my homies out over there in the 805 area. Sitting in front of the apartment complex, looking at the clouds, bro, and looking at the different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you sitting outside and looking at the different cars passing by. I don't know if you ever play that game. You're like, oh yeah, next car is gonna be my ride.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes a Ford Pinto, and we're all laughing. But I'm saying those are the great memories I remember of being outside, the social
Yeah.
skills, hanging out, disagreeing and agreeing. You know what I mean?
Now we
But
don't. Now we don't even. Now we consider when we text someone that we've talked to them.
we
You know.
communicated.
Yeah. And so given that these social skills are being developed, and you mentioned these coping skills, right? And you attach it to sports, for instance. How is it that you if anyone goes to your website, they'll see that you're a former K through 12 educator yourself, and you run an extensive and what people would call a successful tutoring program, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, why make the shift to athletics from academics?
Well, my brother, first of all, I love teaching, hands down. I was blessed and fortunate. I was able to teach for about 6 7 years before I got into the management and admin side. I think those are that's what helped me become who I am, is those years teaching in the inner city, teaching kids at Memorial, Logan Heights. Shout out to my Logan Heights peeps there. I live in Logan Heights, my brother, so it's like I love this type of community. So with that said, it was hard for me to turn, but then I realized, you know what, check it out, I have to follow my passion. I cannot be a hypocrite and tell my kids, follow your dreams, follow your passion. Don't get me wrong, teaching is one of my passion, but my true internal, deep down to my core passion is sports. I've been a sports fanatic athlete since the age of 7, my brother. I remember memorizing the stats and the game results of multiple sports and informing my older brothers, Javi and Eddie, shout out to them, when they got home late and telling them, oh yeah, there's the leaders of in the NBA division, the point leaders, watching the local news. I didn't have ESPN, I didn't have cable growing up. I just had the local channel 12 news. You know what I mean? You know how that is on that struggle, but that didn't give me an excuse not to follow my passion. And then sports, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Sports literally saved me, my brother. It
Mm,
saved me emotionally, mentally, socially, and academically. How can I elaborate on that? Very simple. Coming from a low income, single parent home growing up, my brother, and also
mm,
a second language learner myself. I was born and raised in El Centro, California, but mainly raised all the way to the age of 7 in Mexicali, California. Shout out to my familia there in Mexicali, and then moved to Guadalupe, California at the age of 7, not knowing not even one word of English.
mm-hmm.
So I was confused. There was so much chaos going on because I couldn't
Yeah.
understand people. I got introduced to sports at the age of 7 with t-ball. Shout out to Coach Adan Rodriguez, man. He was one of my first coaches in t-ball, and then basketball, man. It kept me out of trouble. It motivated me to excel in academics, to be respectful and represent my team of my community on and off the field. you know
Yes.
and it's super important. That's one thing athletes don't understand, is like, you got to represent your community. But anything, sports was my refuge, my brother. Sports was my nurture, when I was struggling in moving over here
And it makes
from
it
me.
fair,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because it's it's one thing for me to have an advantage over an English language learner because, well, I know what they're talking about, but the scoreboard is a scoreboard, and the numbers are the numbers, and the skills and drills that it takes to accomplish something in sports, it makes it fair. It equalizes it to a degree, sometimes that we don't see in other aspects. But speaking of equalizing, let me ask you this: you 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 mentioned Logan Heights. That's one of the first educational communities that I worked in, Logan Heights, and over
Yes,
there
sir.
at Logan Academy. And so when we talk about your PhD program and SD Cali, how do you feel promoting this active lifestyle, and do you feel that your message of health and wellness can really support a shift regarding these preventable health conditions like obesity and diabetes in low income and so-called minority communities of color? You know?
Yeah, and you know what? That's a outstanding question, my brother. Really, what it comes down to, what we do in Athlete Advantage, we take pride in basically uh, searching and talking to schools in the inner city and try to promote services to them. But what ends up happening, number one thing, you know how it is. There's no money in the hood. They always say it. There's no money. There's no money. There's no money. So what ends up happening, we hear that and we're like, you know what? Let's stop making excuses. Let's start finding solutions. So what
Mm-hmm.
we do in the Advantage, we do the research around the community of what's the local markets, what access do the families have in healthy food, what's the local parks, where can the kids exercise and play, and then so we could provide different alternatives to tell the kids, hey, you could go practice this activity and drill that we taught you at your local park. You could go get healthy doses of vegetables and fruits at your local market. So we do that research within a 3 to 5 mile radius of the community of what resources they have. How do we do that? We got to educate our youth. We educate our youth, they're going to be the educators at home. They're going to tell their parents, hey, mom, dad, we got to stop buying soda. We got to drink more water. If we want to, flip it a little bit, let's add a little fruit to the water. Hey, we got to, fry all of our food. Let's try to bake it. So basically teaching and empowering our youth, but adapting to their surroundings. I'm sorry, in Logan Heights, I live in Logan Heights. There's no Sprouts. There's no Trader Joe's. You know what I mean? I don't got Henry's. What I got the Sawaya and I got the local liquor store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all I got. If
And
I'm lucky, I got
The Santeria shop on Imperial.
yeah, or Northgate, but it's a little bit farther down. You know what I mean? But my thing and also working with the local markets. Hey, where's your healthy food section? Is it possible? Talking to the owners, like, hey, is it possible you could order some more strawberries? We're trying to promote healthy youth. The thing is, we got to get the whole community involved and buy into being part of the change, not talking about the change, but being part of it. So doing that research, using that data, and adapting our curriculum for that school community, adapting our curriculum in our nutrition and our physical education curriculum. So we have to do the research so we could understand the community. We got to walk in their shoes. We got to take a walk, around the schools, within a 2 to 5 mile radius, because that's how far the kids are walking or taking the bus. But that's what we do in Athlete Advantage. We do the research, we get the data, and then we implement it. How many people, at the university, they get the data, they have these nice little research according to the University of XYZ, but they're not doing anything about it. They're just reporting it.
Mm.
We don't do that in Athlete Advantage. We get the data, we research it, and then we implement it. We apply it and we provide the direct services, or if not, the consulting for the admin to provide that curriculum to empower the kids to
All
eat
right.
healthier. You know what I mean? To change their way of how they see things. Because a lot of kids think, oh, healthy is nasty. No, if you eat healthy and you're creative with your ingredients, it's bomb. The other day I had my first vegan restaurant, Reverend Bruce.
Mm.
Shout out to Melissa Navarro. She took me, my carnala. She's vegan. I told, hey, take me to a vegan restaurant. We went to a Vietnamese vegan restaurant in Gardena. We're up in LA. The food was delicious, my brother. And the thing is, I would never been introduced to it because we don't have those resources in the hood. We have the local liquor stores with the chips. And what's the first thing we see when we go to a local liquor store? The chips on the very front of the store. If they have
Mm-hmm.
any deli or fruits or vegetables in the very back of the store and it's rotten, it's because it's not being promoted correctly. We'll rather promote unhealthy food in the very front of the store, and it's provided at a very cheap price compared to vegetables. You know, when's the last time you got to Trader Joe's and Sprouts and Henry's? The food's expensive, and I'm like, dude, no wonder our peeps can't eat healthy because they go to these stores and it's not reasonable. So what we got to do, we got to be creative on what the resources we have. So if we got to go get the veggies and vegetables, cut them, and wash them and prep them ourselves because they're not gonna prep them for us. We gotta prep those food, but we gotta educate ourselves with the ingredients and so forth on how to make good food. You feel me?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So you mentioned it earlier, but I want you to kind of give us a little bit more. You mentioned that with COVID-19, it impacted your ability to deliver services. And so, how have you adopted and adapted and adjusted for COVID-19 type changes?
Yeah, you know what, my brother? It's like playing baseball, man. It's been a great deal of off speed pitches.
Mm,
Curveballs, changeups, sliders, knuckleball, sinker, you name it. It's been coming at us at different angles and different speeds. What does that mean? Like a former baseball coach, shout out to all my baseball coaches. Uh, you know, uh, Back in Wada, Joe Harris, Danny Tesoro. I have to give props, man, because these are the people that shape up who I am. Fernie Guzman, Brent Smith. They taught me to be patient at the plate. What does
mm,
that mean? Is that when you're behind the count, and right now, currently in our community, we're behind the count.
mm,
It's basically 0-2, one more, and we're gonna strike out. And how do we strike out? Because it's COVID-19 of us being safe and protecting our youth and our family, and especially our elders. Is that we gotta expect the off-speed pitches, the curveballs, and the offs in the different angles, and not expect that fastball, that easy pitch to hit, because the
mm,
fastball is the easiest pitch to hit in baseball. What we gotta do, we gotta sit back, wait for it. Right when it breaks, instead of pulling it and forcing it your way, you got to make the best of it and drive it the opposite way.
mm,
You got to adapt to it. So what you got to do, you got to adapt to it and make the best of it. So we got this curveball with this COVID-19. What we gotta do, we gotta adapt to it and stop, dwelling on, oh, we're trapped in our house. No, we're not. They're just certain guidelines we have to follow for our own safety. But it is patience. It's a virtue. So what does that mean, member? That schools and administrators that have been wanting to partner up with AthLEAD Advantage the last couple of months before the school year started and before they made that decision collectively to start distance learning right off the bat, they're dealing with huge budget cuts. And they're also keeping in mind the students and their staff safety. What does
mm-hmm,
that mean? They're delaying and pushing back the confirmation of our contracts and participation in our athletic league all the way till January, February now, 2021. But my brother, we could sit here, kick rocks, and say life is not fair. AthLEAD Advantage is not running at full cylinders. No, we gotta stop thinking of me and and it's only about me. We gotta understand securing the health and the self well being of our youth and the teachers, the staff that serves our youth. Is the number one priority above anything else. We got to secure their well being, their health. Because if they don't have their health, how are they going to go to school? Think about it. If you're in the hospital sick because of COVID-19, how are you going to go to school?
mm.
It's impossible. So we got to make sure that's number one priority above anything else, taking care of the well being, especially our teachers. Because, we have our lovely president saying all the kids have to go back to school, back to school. the kids, there's only a less the 0.001% of them dying. What about the teachers? What about the staff? What about if those kids get those asthmatic symptoms and they go home and they get their grandpa and their grandma and their uncle sick and their aunt? That's not right. So see, we're not thinking as for the community, we're thinking for themselves, you know. And more than anything, my brother, we as a community, we got to go back to the basic fundamentals of team athletics. What's that? We got to sacrifice our own personal stats, our own personal goals for the sake of the team success. Team
Mm.
before me. We have always heard it as former athletes, my brother. Team before me. It's not about your personal stats. You could have all the great stats, but you still could lose the game. All you know, so you got to take a hit in your personal stats and your goals for the team's success. And most importantly, unión hace la fuerza. What does that mean? Unity makes us stronger, my brother. If
Mm-hmm.
you know, look what we're doing. We're connecting. We're spreading out the knowledge so people could empower themselves, and we got to be united because that makes us stronger, especially during these tough times. We got to do
Yeah.
it, and we have to collaborate. We got to collaborate. What does that mean? And I shared it before, my brother, is that we got to share our resources. We got to share our knowledge, but
Mm-hmm.
most importantly, we got to provide unconditional support for one another. That's one thing we're lacking in our communities and in our society. We're not we're not empathizing. We're not being sensitive to people's needs. And the other thing too, as a veteran coach and supervisor for over 20 years now, you heard this before, my brother, and I preach it to all my staff and my players. The struggle of one is the struggle of all. So if someone's not learning a certain skill or not understanding the play, we got to help him or her because if him or her doesn't pick up the slack, it hurts the whole team.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, success of one is success of all of us. So if you succeed, my brother, for example, with your show, we all succeed. We got to stop being selfish and, well, we're drinking that haterade. Oh, well, Bruce, he has his own program. He thinks he's all that. No, we got to stop thinking like that. And
Yeah.
now with social media, people hide behind the social media, man. What they call it, trolling and bullying,
Yeah. They're out there.
cyberbullying.
They're out there.
And
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, man. It's sickening, but we got to break that cycle, man. We have to. We have no other choice, especially for our youth.
Yeah. So listen, man, you talked about a lot about people who have helped you along the way. Um, tell us one somebody, right, who's inspired you to chase your goals in life and how that keeps you going.
Well, my brother, that's a no-brainer, man. It's my beautiful, strong, determined mother, Alicia Suilan Hincuelo. I gotta give her all her names. Oh, Jesus in there too, because that's one thing I try to promote with my daughters to be proud of their names. So I have to shout out to my mom, Alicia. I know she's listening. Um, Her will to succeed against all odds, it's hands down badass. Excuse my language, is unbelievable. It's second to none. As a single mother raising three boys, my brother, on her own, it's simply amazing. It's unbelievable. And to this day, I practice what she always told me growing up, and these quotes are stuck to me, man. She planted these seeds, unbelievable, and I'll share a couple of them. She always told me, if you're gonna do something right, mijo, do it right. If not, don't do it at all. Don't touch it if you're not gonna do it right. The other one, if you start something, you better finish it, and quitting's not an option. She never allowed me to quit anything. As much as I hated the coach, I didn't like the teacher. She's like, nope, you're not quitting. You're gonna suck it up. And then she always mentioned, never allow anyone to outwork you. You gotta outwork people. Anything you touch, you gotta outwork them. And then and this is what stuck to me because even though she was struggling as a single mother, with the help of my older brother, shout out to my brother Javi and Eddie, man. They helped me along the ways in shaping myself too. Um, she never accepted no pities or hand-me-downs from anyone. Even if she was struggling financially, working three jobs, she never took any hand-me-downs. She said, Mijo, never take any hand-me-downs and don't allow no one to have pity on you.
Mm.
And then you gotta, and this is to this day professionally, this is what I do. She always tells me, earn everything and don't kiss up to anyone. You don't got to kiss up to anyone to get respect. Show through your work. And this is the gangster side of my mom. She would say, "Hey, mijo, they don't have to like you, but they will respect you." So, man, these quotes, think about it. I learned these were quotes since I can remember at the age of 5 of me, recollecting these thoughts. And one more person, my brother, is my stepdad, David Coelho, man. Much respect to my stepdad. He took us in, when she married my mom. I was 13 years old when she took me in. He's straight out, hands down, my brother, keeping it 100. He's a true definition of a father and a dad. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, as a father, dad." No, he's the whole package. Why?
Mm,
Because he was, you know, the complete package as a father, dad, because he took us and my brothers in. When he married my mom, I was 13 years old when they got married. Think about it. I'm going into my teen years. So I was real rebellious. I gave him a hard time, probably gave him some gray hairs at the time. But man, he gave me that unconditional love and that father figure that that I had a void, I was lacking growing up prior to being 13. Because I basically grew up without a father all the way till I was maybe 12, 13 when I met my stepdad. So respect to him and his work ethic, my brother. He worked 2, 3 jobs to help out around the house, never complained. And one thing I admired the most out of him, my brother, he worked in the nonprofit sector as a manager, social worker, and the
mm-hmm.
respect he got in a small town, Santa Maria. Shout out to Santa Maria people there. They loved him. They respected him because he gave so much. He was always willing to help people in the community in need through his social work and his nonprofit that he was working with for over 25 years. And honestly, if I could strive every day, and this is what I do every day, if I could be a fraction of what both of my parents were, man, that's a privilege right there, because they taught me to be determined, hardworking, passionate, humble. You got to be caring. It's not about you. You got to
Yeah.
care for other people. But most importantly, they model for me. They just didn't preach it. They modeled to be a great spouse, but even a better father, because I didn't have that father until my stepdad came in. So shout out to my parents. Much love to my mom and to my dad and my brothers, man. I have nothing but love for you because you created the structure of the person that I have become to this day.
Amen. I mean, that's so on point and in line with the biblical teaching of honor your father and mother. And so
Sure.
I truly appreciate that. And to go along with that, now that you've been given all that and you've been shaped into this person that you've become, I just want to ask, as we get close to wrapping up, if you could offer some advice to today's youth athlete who's in development right now,
Mhm.
what would you share to inspire him or her today to keep going?
First of all, my brother, you gotta find your internal fire. Find something you love to do and you don't see it as a job. For me was teaching. Shout out to my brother Eddie. He got me into education at first, and he told me you'll be a great educator because you know how to organize people. But sports, sports was my true passion. So finding your true passion that makes you happy, that motivates you. One thing I constantly preach to my coach, to my players and my staff: you gotta dream it first, and then you vision it. And how you vision it, you write it down. Even if it's a lame, silly idea, I always have a notebook. Even it's just next to me. Look at that. I have this notebook. Costs you 89 cents, man. 99 cents at the store. Write down all your dreams, your vision. Just write it down, even though it sounds dumb at that point. But my brother, all of my ideas, I wrote it down first. AthLEAD Advantage, I wrote it down first in my notebook. I want to do this. And then you got to pursue it. Don't allow no one to discourage you from pursuing your dreams. Don't let those trolls, those haters, whatever names that they have out nowadays, don't let them get to you. Just ignore it. Focus on the goal. Grab it by the horns. Own it. You gotta want it. You gotta have that. You know what? I'm gonna work for it, and it's not gonna be easy. You do have to work, but guess what? You can't stop learning. You gotta educate yourself. Read. about the field, how you could be a better person. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I have an outstanding team in Athlete Advantage. Shout out to Monique and Ann. I know they're listening. We have a dream team, my brother. We balance each other so well. We respect each other's skills. So you got to ask for help. More than anything, you have to understand asking for help is not it's a strength. It's not a weakness. A lot of people in our culture say, well, if you ask for help, you're showing weakness. No, asking for help is a strength. And then, most than anything, like I mentioned with Monique and Ann, our team, you got to surround yourself with healthy, positive people that will support you unconditionally. What does that mean? You got to have people that are going to support you, they're going to value you, but they're not afraid to challenge you. They're not afraid to check you, chin check you. We used to call it back in Guadalupe. Much respect to my homies there. We used to chin check each other and say, hey, you're getting out of line, man. That's what true healthy people you need to surround yourself with. And then your inner circle doesn't have to be big. Quality over quantity. You heard that before, my brother. You got to have a tight inner circle that's going to be there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And more importantly, we always worry about reaching the goal. We got to worry about enjoying the journey to reaching the goal. Because a lot of times I'll get to my goal, and you work and you put your head down, but you don't take a deep breath and say, wow, man, like Ice Cube said, man, today was a good day. You know what I mean? We gotta breathe and enjoy the journey, the good and the bad, the struggle of reaching that goal that we wanted. But most importantly, that builds character and memorable moments is the journey towards that goal. And the last thing I want to leave it there is we gotta pay it forward. The minute you reach a plateau, a level of success, you can't forget where you came from. What does that mean? You gotta pay it forward. Give it get it. Give people a chance, or make yourself available to help. Open the door for someone. And that shows gratefulness for the people that opened the door for you back in the days when you were struggling. So that means pay it forward. Open the door. Help other people. And that's one thing we do in Athlete Advantage. We partner up with local community small businesses for sponsorship for schools that can't afford to join our league or can't afford to get those services, and then in return we give them that advertisement. And like, I just want to leave it in the simple words, my brother. Unión hace la fuerza. What does that mean? Translation for my non-Spanish speakers: unity makes us stronger. So we got to unite, and we got to work together, my brother. We cannot just be selfish. But if we do those things that I just shared, I practice it every day and I remind myself every day. Those are the things I have. It's part of my agenda. Did I do this? Did I do that? Of all those things that I just shared, but unión hace la fuerza, man. That's one thing I want to make sure I stress that, because we got to go back to the basic fundamentals of unity, of working together. Together we're stronger, my brother, than being by ourselves.
Yeah, that's powerful because in a nutshell, what man is an island.
Yes.
There is no you know self-made man. Everybody has to be taught by somebody. Everybody needs to get in here and realize that it's the pitching in and pitching together that gets us to another place as as a people, as a
Yes.
community. We're suffering from what we don't share with one another. The I think Gandhi said it. There's enough for everybody's need, but there's not enough for everybody's greed. And if
Yes.
we look at it, and I mean, coming from working in Logan Heights and two different groups, working with Logan Academy there back in the day, in the special ed department, and working um, over on Franklin, at Crenshaw Baptist
Yeah.
Church, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
Booker T. Crenshaw and his university and everything for Freedom School, and just seeing the plight of people around, but also the number of people that would get up and go to work, the number of people that would have to work outside of their community and have to walk there and take the bus there, but they would make it and make it happen. And so, what happens when we bring all of us together and we start working together and unifying? And so, man,
And,
I appreciate
no, but you know what? You couldn't say it any better, my brother. The system is afraid for us to unite. Because they don't want us to unite, and they want us to fight over crumbs. We can't do that. We
that.
can't be fighting over crumbs. And the thing is that a lot of our kids were being bussed out too, along with our parents that have to work outside their community. And one thing too, we gotta, I think it was Muhammad Ali who said it. We gotta instead of counting the days, we gotta make them count,
Hmm.
especially during this pandemic. What are we doing every day? Yes, we're stuck in our house, but what are we doing to be productive? Are we going outside? Are we exercising? Are we eating healthy? Are we spending quality time with our loved ones? What I mean? The ones that are in our household. And that we gotta make the days count. It doesn't matter what field you're working, construction, landscaping. It doesn't have to be, your typical careers. No, just make them count. And these skills are valuable. Teaching our kids, how to do the handyman stuff and how to clean and how to do that. Those are basic fundamentals. We have to go back to the basics on that, man. But my brother, it's unbelievable experience, man. I don't know if hey, I have to go old school on you, my brother. A little shout outs, if you don't mind, I want to give a little shout outs. To my AthLEAD Advantage, Ann and Monique, much respect. Our tech crew, Gio, Tomas, and Asael, they play a huge part in AthLEAD Advantage behind the scenes and setting up our tech stuff. My family, my wife, Aremi, I call them the Mexichina scholars, my two little daughters, Suilana and Yaretsi, and my mother, La Mama Tere, and of course, my mom, Pops, my brothers, Eddie and Javi, Karina, Daisy, my sister-in-law, Lindsay, Adrian, and my brother, I have to give love, man. My nephews, Malik, Asaed, Dylan, Aliyah, Maya, Klali. Much respect to all of them because they shaped me who I am, my brother. And I
Yeah,
have to thank them because a lot
yeah,
of times we forget to do the simple, greatest gift in life is to thank people that made a difference in your life. It's
yes,
not a,
indeed.
it's not a gift. You don't have to buy something. Just say a thank you. Just like appreciate it sincerely. And much respect to Andres and Richard Gijon. Those are the people that encouraged me to pull the trigger and said, create your own business. What you waiting for it, son? Let's go.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you need people like that to encourage you. Hey man, take the chance. Because think about it, we took the chance during the pandemic, my brother.
yeah,
During the pandemic, we're like, you know what? Let's create our own business. Why not? So much respect there. San Diego family, 805 Guadalupe family, mini court, Long Beach in the house, my family there, friends and family. But my brother, thank you so much, man, Reverend Bruce, for the space, the platform to allow us to showcase our passion, advantage, athlete advantage community work, man. I
yeah.
am
No, no, no,
humble,
man.
man. I'm
This is
so humble and grateful they gave us this space to
yeah.
promote our program and our
This is
business, my
real.
brother.
This is real. This is it's been a real genuine time. You know,
Yes,
and
sir.
I just want to let you know this is this is an open door, and just like you said, um this is not to promote me and what I'm doing. I'm trying to get other people like yourself on here to come out, like you did, be honest and true and transparent and say, this is who I am and this is what I do, and give people some inspiration. Somebody is sitting at home Saturday and they got that pink slip and they don't know what to do next, but they've got that dream that they haven't written down yet. Write it out and then live it out.
Yes,
This is your time. COVID might be a challenge, but this might be your time to accept the challenge to be more and be different. And so in true fashion, I'm gonna hit the rewind. As I started out today, you've got to be true to yourself
yes, sir.
and you've got to better yourself. regardless of the conditions, regardless of the haters, regardless of whoever else has got something to say about it and how they got to look at it and look at you. You got to keep on going. And I like what you said, Aldo. And we've got to go in this together.
Together, my brother. That's the key word. That's the key word. You know, if you want to pursue something, don't do it by yourself. You know, get a nice team, get a great team like we did, and together, man, we were able to get this business off its feet, and now it's unbelievable, man. It's the way it's growing, expanding, but it was a team effort. It wasn't not only me. I cannot take the credit. It's impossible for me to take the credit, and it'll be wrong for me to take the credit. It was a team effort. But for all those people, man, pull the trigger, man. You know, but you gotta write it down. Write it down. Write it down and then implement it, and then ask for feedback. Tell people, hey, what you think about that? What you think about this? But my brother, we got to stop making excuses and find solutions to those excuses. We got
Yes.
to do that, man.
Yeah. Listen, man, I gotta pull the trigger on this show, and so I I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate your spirit.
You more, my brother. I appreciate you even more, my brother.
Coming on here and being honest, and you know, we definitely keep it going. You know, as for everybody that might have missed it and just caught on, this has been Aldo Chavez with AthLEAD Advantage, and they're doing more than just the norm, I could say, and it's about leadership, it's about education, it's about athletics by design, and one of the things he said that was powerful was play is powerful. We've got to let these kids play, let them get active, and they've got some ways for you to do that even within COVID-19. And so, you know, once again, man, you know, I truly deep down appreciate it. This was this was exciting, and definitely invite you back to talk about some other stuff related to youth development and community, and especially giving youth a voice today. I don't think we've heard enough, especially in this election year, from the youth. We've heard a lot from the NBA, WNBA, and you know, and a couple other people who say they speak for us, but the folks that will be taking care of us not too long from now, what do they have to say about what's going on today? And so I appreciate it, man. God bless. Listen, y'all, this is something that I read earlier, and it comes out of the New Living Translation of the Bible. It says, intelligent people are always open to new ideas.
Yes, sir.
Intelligent people are always open to new ideas. Are you open to something new today? Are you open to experience something new today, something different? Tap into that. Get into that. Get into something that can get your fire going. Like he said, find your fire, find your passion, and go after it. Listen, much love, peace and blessings. Godspeed. Love you.
Much love, my brother. Appreciate you, huh? Love and respect.